I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
Robert De Niro took center stage as a cinematic legend with haunting roles and an undeniable acting talent. But what drove this renowned star to plunge into the thorny world of political battles? Why has he so openly condemned Donald Trump as a threat to democracy? And are De Niro's warnings an alarm bell for America's future, or merely the perspective of a passionate artist? Uncover the truth behind the shocking statements of a man who has wielded art as a weapon. You might just be surprised.
I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world. But we vowed we would not allow terrorists. I owe this city a lot. And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street. Because he doesn't belong in my city. I don't know where he belongs, but he certainly doesn't belong here. They bought into his bullshit. Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises. He got the most religious evangelicals to applaud a sinner who bragged about sexual assault, and who, just a couple of blocks from here, a jury found him liable for sexual abuse.
Robert De Niro standing on that bustling Manhattan sidewalk, the shadow of Trump Tower looming nearby, his voice rising above the city's din as he unleashes a torrent of frustration and loyalty. This isn't just a rant. It's a love letter to New York laced with a warning, a plea to protect something sacred from a force he sees as corrosive. His affection for the city spills out first, raw and unapologetic, and it's the anchor for everything that follows. He doesn't want it destroyed, not its spirit, its grit, its chaotic charm. And he frames Donald Trump as the looming threat, a man whose ambitions could unravel not just New York's fabric but the nation's, even the world's. That escalation isn't mere hyperbole. It's De Niro signaling a stakes-so-high urgency, casting Trump as a villain of almost cinematic proportions, a destroyer masquerading as a leader. The personal stakes cut deeper. He owes this city, he says, a debt forged through decades of living its rhythms, and that makes Trump's presence just across the street feel like an insult, a violation of a space De Niro claims as his own. Trump doesn't belong here, he insists, and the question of where he does belong lingers unanswered, a subtle exile in De Niro's mind. Perhaps nowhere, perhaps some gilded abyss far from this urban heart. Rewind to Trump's earlier days, and De Niro's memory sharpens into a portrait of a man we once indulged, a grubby real estate hustler, a two-bit playboy clawing for tabloid ink, a self-made myth puffing up his worth with shameless bravado. He was a clown then, a sideshow act New Yorkers smirked at and shrugged off. The city's got room for that. Clowns dot the streets, hawking oddities or preaching to no one, and we let them be. It's a badge of New York's identity, this tolerance for the bizarre, a live and let live ethos baked into its concrete. But De Niro draws a line. Trump's not that kind of clown anymore. The shift from local nuisance to national power broker is where the story sours, where tolerance curdles into dread. Running the country, that's no place for a figure like him, De Niro argues, and there's a collective we in there, a shared New Yorker's instinct that this doesn't fit, can't work. It's a lament for a time when Trump was just a punchline, not a president, when his antics stayed small scale and the stakes didn't feel existential. Then comes the disbelief, the head-shaking wonder at how Trump pulled it off, how he sold himself beyond these streets to a nation that didn't know him like New York did. De Niro's scorn lands hard on the supporters who bought the act, seduced by outrageous lies and empty promises that rang hollow to anyone who'd watched Trump's hustle up close. The evangelicals baffle him most. How do they cheer a man who bragged about sexual assault, a sin etched into public record when a jury, mere blocks away, found him liable for sexual abuse? The hypocrisy gnaws at him, but it's not just them. Self-proclaimed patriots, waving flags and preaching liberty, somehow rallied behind a guy who floated terminating the Constitution, who stoked the January 6th mob that stormed the Capitol, leaving bodies and broken glass in its wake. De Niro's not just listing grievances here, he's exposing a disconnect, a national gullibility that New York's streetwise skepticism never fell for. Trump's a con artist who turned his tabloid playbook into a political weapon, and the country ate it up, except here, where we knew better, or thought we did. Dig deeper, and De Niro's painting Trump as more than a liar, he's a predator, a megalomaniac driven by greed, willing to wield violence against anyone blocking his path. That's the thread tying this to his push for the Biden-Harris ad. It's a spotlight on Trump's chaos, a reminder of the blood spilled and the threats he'll make again. De Niro's language, visceral, unpolished, spitting bullshit and clown, mirrors the city's own bluntness, a no-nonsense call-out from someone who's seen the mask slip too many times. But there's a broader indictment too. How did we let this happen? How did a figure we laughed off as a fraud climb so high? It's not just Trump he's after, it's the failure of discernment, the erosion of standards that let a hustler rewrite the rules. New York tolerated him once, but the nation's embrace feels like a betrayal of something bigger: democracy, decency, maybe even reality itself. De Niro's rallying we again, New Yorkers, Americans, anyone who will listen, to see Trump for what he is and push back before the damage spreads further. Standing there, steps from Trump's shadow, he's not just venting, he's sounding an alarm, rooted in a love too fierce to stay silent. Yet, De Niro's searing critique of societal complicity is not merely abstract, it sharpens into a blade honed by damning testimony. As if summoning witnesses to the stand, he pulls figures like General Kelly from the shadows, their revelations transforming Trump's chaotic legacy into something far more sinister. A hunger for autocracy etched in Hitler's image. Here, the predator's mask falls completely. Kelly's chilling accounts of Trump idolizing tyrants and sneering at sacrifice expose not just a man unraveling, but a movement crystallizing its malice. Project 2025, once a nebulous threat in De Niro's indictment, now looms as a tangible script for tyranny, its pages dripping with the same greed and violence that first stained Trump's rise. The question shifts from how did we let this happen, to what else might we enable? And De Niro, flanked by ghosts and truth-tellers, refuses to let the answer go unchallenged.
His former chief of staff, General Kelly, reminded us that Trump admires Hitler and ridicules our American troops who've died for us. He mumbles, he stumbles, and blubbers on, exhibiting clear signs of dementia. He promoted the Project 2025 agenda.
Robert De Niro's voice thunders through the air today, a grizzled warrior of words, slashing at the specter of Donald Trump with a ferocity that could wake the ghosts of New York's past. His former chief of staff, General Kelly, steps from the shadows like a battle-scarred oracle, whispering truths that chill the spine. Trump admires Hitler, a dictator whose shadow still stains history's pages, and mocks the fallen soldiers who lie beneath America's soil. Their sacrifice is now fodder for his scorn. De Niro paints Trump as a crumbling king, his mind unraveling like a tapestry eaten by time, mumbling, stumbling, blubbering. A man lost in the fog of dementia, yet clutching a dark grimoire called Project 2025. This isn't just a policy plan. In De Niro's telling, it's a cursed scroll, etched with spells to bind the nation to Trump's will. A blueprint for a realm where freedom withers and the powerful feast on the weak. All this, De Niro cries, erupted in a single week, a storm of chaos unleashed while the city's pulse beats on, oblivious or defiant. Across the divide stands Kamala Harris, not with vague dreams or half-formed riddles, but with plans carved in stone. An opportunity economy to lift workers and the middle class from the mire, a shield of lower taxes to guard their hard-earned coin. Trump, though, looms like a dragon hoarding gold, his jaws snapping with promises to raise taxes on the common folk, his every speech a boast of bounty for his rich cronies perched in their gleaming towers. De Niro's words twist the contrast into a mythic clash, Harris as the champion of the people, wielding a sword of justice, while Trump schemes to be a tyrant for the few, his scepter dripping with the wealth of the elite. The election looms like a darkening sky, a reckoning that could summon either dawn or endless night. De Niro's not just recounting facts, he's sounding a horn, rallying the weary to one final stand. Elect Harris, he urges, and the Democrats up and down the ballot plant the flag of hope before Trump's shadow swallows it whole. That clear choice he invokes isn't just practical, it's a fable of good and evil playing out in real time, where the stakes are the soul of a nation. He's baffled, as he was before, by Trump's ascent, how this faltering figure, once a jest in New York streets, now holds a torch that could burn it all down. Project 2025, to De Niro, isn't mere policy. It's a pact with darkness, a vow to chain the future to Trump's whims, endorsed by a man who ridicules the dead and envies a tyrant. Harris, in his eyes, isn't just a candidate. She's a beacon. Her plan's a map to a land where the middle class doesn't toil under a rich man's boot. Trump's tax hikes, he warns, are no idle threat. Listen to him, De Niro says. He brags about it, a sorcerer gleeful at the misery he'll sow. The admiration for Hitler, the dementia, the disdain for heroes, it's a portrait of a mind unmoored yet still clawing for power. De Niro's not subtle, he's shouting from the rooftops, his love for America's spirit fueling every barb. Election day is the battleground, and he's calling for a charge. Don't let up, don't falter, push until the dawn breaks. It's a tale of now, urgent and real, but spun with the fire of legend. A nation at a crossroads, a hero rising, a villain teetering, and a people who must choose before the clock strikes midnight. De Niro's critique is a lightning bolt, striking at Trump's character and agenda with a mix of raw anger and disbelief. The Hitler reference, sourced from General Kelly, isn't just a historical jab, it's a moral alarm, suggesting Trump idolizes control over conscience, a leader who'd rather command loyalty than earn it. The dementia claim turns Trump into a tragic figure, a once-gunning showman now stumbling through his own script, yet dangerously unrepentant. Project 2025 becomes the villain's manifesto in this saga, not just a policy wish list, but a talisman of Trump's intent to reshape America into a fiefdom for the privileged, a charge De Niro links to tax hikes for the masses and cuts for the elite. Harris emerges as the counterforce, her real plans a grounding antidote to Trump's chaos. De Niro elevates her opportunity economy into a quest for fairness, a shield against the dragon's greed, while her tax relief promises a tangible boon for the struggling. Trump's counterplan, raising taxes, as he says all the time, is wielded like evidence of malice, a confession De Niro dares us to hear. The fantastical lens amplifies this. Trump's not just a politician but a looming tyrant, his rich friends a cabal of lords, while Harris fights for the everyman, her presidency a chance to heal a fractured land. The urgency of Election Day pulses through every line, a call to arms that blends reality with mythic weight. De Niro's not analyzing from a distance. He's in the fray, pleading for action, framing this as a pivotal moment where apathy could doom us. The fantasy elements, ghosts, cursed scrolls, a darkening sky, don't obscure the truth, they heighten it, making the reader feel the gravity of a choice between a flawed but hopeful future and a descent into Trump's shadow. It's a rallying cry dressed in epic garb, pushing us to think hard about who leads and what they'll wield, be it plans for the people or a scepter for the few. Yet, even as De Niro casts Harris as the hero in this mythic clash, his fiercest fire burns not for policy battles, but for the rot beneath Trump's illusion. The urgency of the election, its ghosts and cursed scrolls, is not mere theater. It's born from the visceral truth De Niro carries like a torch. Trump's New York was never a fairy tale. It was a grift, a decades-long con where bluster masked exploitation, and loyalty was currency for a man who saw the city not as a home but a conquest. When De Niro spits bullshit, it's not just a curse, it's an exorcism. He drags us back to the streets where Trump's swagger first took root, to the neon-lit nights where the sorcerer honed his lies, and asks, how did we forget? How did a predator cloaked in gold become a king beyond these towers? The answer, he implies, is written in the shadows now creeping nationwide. A darkness Harris's shield must repel not just with plans, but by severing the spell itself. This is no distant political duel. It's a reckoning with the beast we once tolerated, now unleashed.
I owe this city a lot. And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street. Because he doesn't belong in my city. But around the country, people who didn't know him, as we did, started to support him. They bought into his bullshit. Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises. You are gangsters! You are gangsters!
Below is an analysis of the provided document, Robert De Niro's opinion on Donald Trump, expanded with fantastical elements to draw the reader in, while staying anchored to the core ideas. The text weaves a vivid, almost mythic narrative around De Niro's words, enhancing the urgency and stakes to make it feel like a gripping tale unfolding in the present, urging reflection through a blend of reality and imagination. Robert De Niro's voice rings out today, heavy with the weight of a man who's seen too much, a guardian of New York's soul standing firm as shadows creep closer. He owes this city everything, he says, a debt forged in its concrete canyons and neon nights, and that's why it gnaws at him that Donald Trump lurks just across the street, a dark figure out of place, an invader in a realm that should cast him out. To De Niro, Trump's presence is an affront, a stain on the city's spirit, and yet beyond these streets, the nation didn't see it. People who never knew Trump as New York did, never watched his swagger and bluster up close, fell under his spell. De Niro spits the word bullshit like a curse, painting Trump as a sorcerer of lies, weaving outrageous tales and hollow oaths to buy loyalty, his voice a siren's call that lured votes from the unwary. Somehow, this trickster ensnared even the self-proclaimed patriots, those who hoist flags and swear by liberty, twisting their allegiance to a man who'd shatter the Constitution like a fragile relic. De Niro conjures January 6th as a scene from a nightmare, an angry mob summoned by Trump's bellowing horn, storming the Capitol like a horde unbound, leaving death and ruin in their wake, a wound on democracy's flesh. That's why he threw his weight behind the Biden-Harris ad, he says, a blazing beacon to pierce the fog, exposing Trump's violence, a warning carved in fire that this man will wield force against any who defy his greed and megalomania. Now, Trump's vowing to turn the military on America's own, a tyrant's promise hissed from his lips, and De Niro's eyes flash with certainty. Believe him, he means it, every word a dagger aimed at the nation's heart. Once in 2016, Trump's run was a jest, a buffoon capering for the crown, a clown no one thought could reign. De Niro recalls that disbelief, the laughter that echoed then, but it's gone now, replaced by a chill as history's ghosts whisper in his ear. He sees other clowns in the past, fools dismissed until they morphed into vicious dictators, their jests turning to chains. And Trump's the echo of that tale, a second chance to stop the cycle before it hardens into fate. No one's laughing anymore, the air's too thick with dread. This ad, he hopes, is a clarion call, a spell to break through the bubble and jolt Trump's followers awake, to show them the danger he poses, not a threat, but a reality, stark and unyielding. De Niro's words sharpen to a point, vote him out, end this now before the tyrant's shadow swallows all. He turns on Trump with a final, searing strike, calling him a gangster, a traitor, as if unmasking a fiend who's shed all pretense. It's not just rhetoric, it's a battle cry, a plea to see Trump as the peril he's become, a figure who'd wield the military like a warlord's blade against his own people. The fantastical veil lifts the stakes higher. Trump's not just a man, but a dark lord rising, his lies a web, his violence a storm brewing, while De Niro stands as the grizzled sentinel, rallying the realm to cast him down. Election day looms like a final duel, and he's begging us to pick up the sword, download the NBC News app, follow the updates, stay vigilant, because this isn't a story. It's happening, and the choice is ours before the clock runs out. De Niro's critique is a blaze of fury and fear, a raw dissection of Trump's ascent and a desperate call to halt it. His love for New York isn't just sentiment, it's a shield, a reason to fight, and Trump's nearness feels like a siege on that loyalty. The bullshit he decries isn't vague, it's the specific lies, like terminating the Constitution, that snared patriots, a betrayal of their own creed. And January 6th stands as proof, a day when Trump's words lit a fuse and democracy bled. The Biden-Harris ad becomes his weapon, a lantern to reveal Trump's violent core, amplified now by this promise to turn the military inward. A tyrant's gambit. De Niro insists we take at face value, a chilling vow from a man who's shown he'll break norms to keep power. That 2016 memory, Trump as a laughable long shot, turns bitter in hindsight, a missed chance to see the clown for the dictator he'd become. De Niro leans on history's lessons, unnamed tyrants who rose from ridicule to ruin, and frames this as America's do-over, a fleeting window to act. The ad's mission, to pierce the bubble, carries a quiet desperation, a hope that Trump's base might glimpse the monster he sees. Greedy, megalomaniacal, a gangster cloaked as a leader. The fantasy elements, sorcerers, dark lords, a realm at risk, don't dilute the truth, they magnify it, casting Trump's traits in epic relief to jolt the reader awake. Gangster and traitor land like blows, summing up a man who'd trade democracy for dominion, and De Niro's urging us to vote, to follow the news, feels like a last stand against a tide. It's real, it's now, and through this mythic lens, he's daring us to decide. Banish the tyrant or watch the kingdom fall. Robert De Niro's blistering critique of Donald Trump, a tapestry of mythic warnings, raw urgency, and unflinching love for democracy, forces us to confront a pivotal question. What lingers most in your mind after witnessing this clash of titans? Was it Trump's portrayal as a sorcerer of lies, weaving chaos from neon-lit shadows? The haunting specter of Project 2025, a cursed scroll threatening freedom itself? Or Kamala Harris's rise as the everyman's champion, her plans a shield against tyranny's greed? We want to hear from you. Did De Niro's fiery rhetoric stir your resolve, or did the fantastical lens, ghosts of New York's past, dragons hoarding gold, sharpen the stakes for you? Perhaps you've seen other figures like Trump morph from clowns into conquerors in your own lifetime. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We're eager to dive into this conversation with you. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss our deep dives into the stories shaping our world. Your support fuels this fight to expose truth, challenge power, and amplify voices like De Niro's. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.